Good morning and welcome to the program Guest of the Week. Our guest this morning is Professor Sadiq Abubakar Gombe. He is the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. Professor Abubakar Gombe, good morning and glad to have you on our program Guest of the Week.
Good morning, TOYIN, ALABI.
Yes. Well, Professor Abubakar Gombe is the national chairman of the SDP, like I mentioned earlier. He also is the pioneer national secretary of the party. He was also pioneer director general, IPAC, as the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria. He is our guest this morning on the program. And to start on with him, Prof, we have to go back, and going back will mean talking about the SDP as it came about. It was a party during the military era of President Ibrahim Babangida. It was again running with another party, the NRC. But one thing stood out for the SDP, that at that time it was a party that was spread all over. It had its presidential flag bearer in 1993 as Chief MKO Abiola. So the party was, a party that was running with its vice president there then, that's talking about King Gibe. It was strong. It was a party that all Nigerians, rallied round. And of course it won, as would be said at that time, that it won the presidential ticket of for the party. It was annulled in June 12. We all know that story. So the SDP is a party that, Nigerians have it and know about it. That was strong. But over the years, the SDP as a party had come out and had been faced with crises. And that crisis has not, moved out of what the party is going through now. 2027 is just around the corner where Nigerians will go in for an elections. And with this crisis that the SDP is facing, now, how prepared is the SDP to face up with the challenges that it is going through and face with the elections of 2027?
Well, Chief TOYIN, ALABI, I think I thank you most sincerely for this opportunity. As you rightly said, the SDP was a formidable party prior and in 1993 when it won the agenda most freest and the fairest election in the history of our dear country, Nigeria. What makes the SDP to stand out then is nothing different from what the SDP stood for then, and it stands out today. The SDP is an ideological party built on social welfareism, justice, equity, and fairness, and it rolled out its programs to the Nigerian people then, and the Nigerian people buy into the ideology of the SDP, which is, if there is any time that Nigerians are yearning for a party that have the semblance of ideology and people-oriented policies and programs, there is no better time than now in the history of our dear country from what we are facing today as a nation. From challenges of insecurity, institutional decay, moral decadence, and many other negative biases, to security issue, security of life and property, security of personal liberty, security of food security, and many other things, youth unemployment, and many other things. So what makes the SDP stands out then is its ideology based on what it has in its manifesto. It is people-oriented party, as I earlier said. It is all about service rather than what we have today. Everything is about removal of subsidy, devaluation, policies that have no touch with the people or reality of our time, and so on. The fact that the SDP then presented Chief MKO Abiola and Babagana Kingibe, who are all Muslims, Nigerians doesn't care about where they are coming from, what religion they profess, and so on. But all they have is that what issues do they have that has to do with the Nigerian populace that can better their life, that can usher in good governance, so that they can continue to prosper in a nation and have dividend of democracy. That is why out of the 30 states then, MQ Abiola won in virtually 29 states. It's only in Sokoto that MQ Abiola was not able to make up the 25%. That is one fourth, a quarter of the vote cast in that state, only in Sokoto. But in all other 29 states, MQ Abiola secured 25% of the vote cast in all the states. In fact, including winning Alhaji Bashir Usman Tofa of the NRC, who is from Kano. MQ Abiola won Kano because then Nigerians are not looking at politics from the point of view of ethno-religious, regional, or religious sentiments or tribal sentiment. Rather, they are looking at the quality of the candidates. Who are the candidates? What are the issues before them? What does the manifesto and ideology and principle of that party that the candidate is aspiring and presents to the Nigerian people? What I want to assure you that the SDP of the yesteryears is still the SDP of today. Nothing changes from the ideology of the SDP as a political party, from the principle for which the SDP seeks leadership so that they can govern and usher in good governance to Nigerians. And one important thing is that today, our candidates that we are ready to present, or we are presenting to Nigerians that have passed through or won our tickets in our last convention in Bauchi, Prince Adewale Adebayo is a Nigerian who has all it takes, the confidence, the capacity, the understanding of the Nigerian states and the problems associated with Nigeria, and who is versed in virtually all sector of human endeavor. And the person that is going on that ticket with him, Dr. Usman Bugaji, is a very highly competent Nigerian that cut across all fields of human endeavor, respected across the divide, irrespective of whichever part of the country or whichever religion anyone professes and so on. These are the tribalized Nigerians that have all it takes, as much as or even far apart than what the ticket of the 1993 presented to Nigerians. And I want to assure you, given the opportunity, the SDP today is the party of the moment, is that credible alternative that Nigerians are yearning and looking for. Is that party that understands the pains of Nigerians, that understand that leadership is our bane today. All that God has will endure a nation, state. God has endowed Nigeria with everything. Is it human capital development? Is it resource? Is it the land so fertile? There is nothing that you cannot grow in one part of the country or the other. There is nothing that God did not endow this country with. But the only problem is leadership. I want to assure you that Nigerians have the best of candidates in the SDP that will be for the rescue of our dear country from these shackles that we found ourselves in, of bad governance, of corruption, nepotism in governance, and many other negative biases that endangered us as a nation and held us back as a nation, particularly in the 21st century, where knowledge is supposed to be the greatest capital. There is nothing about leadership. There are three cardinal principles about leadership. Leadership is a function of basically three things. A leader is expected to provide for the well-being of the led. This well-being of the late encompasses infrastructural development, educational development, agriculture for food security, healthcare delivery, transportation, and many other things. Then a leader must provide the late with a social atmosphere in which the late will feel relatively secured. There is nowhere in the world you find absolute security right from time immemorial, where you can only have relative security, whereby people will have security of their personal liberty, life and property, security of their life, security of their property, and can be able to go out and exercise their right as citizens and aspire to be whatever with the minimum level of security around. Security in their homes, in their marketplace, in their schools, in their offices, and so on and so forth.
Yes, Prof.
But unfortunately today, what do we have? So, and then lastly, which is one of the most important, a leader must provide the world with a set of belief, transparency, accountability, trust, trustworthiness, and so on.
All
From
of these.
where we have, where to before that we have ghost workers and so on. Today we have ghost parastatals and so on. Where are we heading to? Today we have quantum of debt that the government secured on behalf of the citizenry that runs into trillions that have never been seen in our history, that the total debt acquired by the subsequent administration compared to this administration surpasses all the administration before it up to 2023 in just 2-3 years. And this is the same government that removed subsidy, that removed on everything, virtually everything, as if government is not about the people, as if government is not about service, as if it's not about democracy, that is said to be the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If the government is by the people, for the people, and of the people, it's supposed to be a government that will heed to the cry of the ordinary citizen. That the government that can place food on the table, that Nigerians can be able to feed at least 3 square meals, that Nigerians can be able to have at least potable water supply, that can be able to go to school. This is today that we are having about 200 million population. It is expected that in the next 20 years or thereabout, Nigeria is expected to be the 3rd largest nation on earth after India and China. When those countries have reserve of the water they are going to consume, the electricity they are going to consume, and so on, the fuel they are going to consume, the schools, the classes that are going to contain the population, and so on, the food they are going to consume, for 50 years to come. Unfortunately, today, we hardly feed, you hardly find families that feed 2 square meals, and apart from that, their security is not there, and so on.
All right,
so
Prof.
Where are we heading to?
Yes, Prof. These are the anomalies that the SDP as a party wants to correct when it comes to power in 2027. But one will still go back to the SDP with the crisis that is, we see in the SDP. People talk about factionalization, the Shehu Gaban faction, and of course, as national chairman, that is recognized, by INEC and all now, all of that. So with this crisis, Shehu Gaban has those that are with him. You also have your, the SDP members that you have. How are the crisis of the SDP going to be corrected before, 2027?
You see, let me correct an impression. In fact, there are issues out there. That there are crises, there are factions, there are divisions, there are this or that in the SDP. But in reality, it is far-fetched, it is far from the truth. This is a party that have a registered constitution with INEC. This is the registered constitution of the party by INEC. Before you are registered as a political party, there are 5 basic criteria for which you have to certify before you will be registered as a political party. 1, you must have leadership that cut across 2/3 of the states. There is members of the National Executive Committee in the 2/3 state of the Federation, that is 24 states. You must have a registered constitution and a manifesto that you must register with the election umpire, so that it will be the guiding principle and your guiding document for your operational and day-to-day running. 3, you must have a registered office with its address and in rent, or rather is it your own personal property, to be registered with the commission. Then you must have offices in at least 2/3 of the states of the federation. You must have state offices. Then you have leadership in the 2/3 of these states. Then you must have paid a non-refundable fee of today 50 million naira to be qualified to be a political party. All this said and done, the SDP, based on this constitution, it has organs. It has the National Executive Committee, the National Working Committee, the National Convention. At the state, it has the State Congresses, the State Executive Committee, and the State Working Committee. The same thing at the local government, down to the wards level, down to polling unit. SDP have structures up to polling unit. What happens? The National Working Committee is the body responsible for the day-to-day running of the party. That is the National Working Committee. Day-to-day administration of the party is vested with the National Working Committee that have 15 members. The National Executive Committee is the body that is responsible for the administrative and everything about the party. It is the highest implementing organ of the party, according to the Constitution, Article 12.2. This NWC will have 15 members. Shehu Gabon is one out of the 15 members. Shehu Gabon was found wanting by flouting some of the constitutional provision of the party and financial misappropriation, malfeasance, theft, and many other things in the party. He was asked by that body, which is responsible for the day-to-day running, as empowered by the National Convention and the National Executive Committee. He refused to give any cogent explanation. Rather, he started abusing his colleagues that have equal right in the organ, in the NWC.
Is that not a threat?
Then, from there, the party felt, you are not above the law. This is the law governing the operations of the SDP. Then, we have Article 19, which is discipline. So he was suspended by the National Working Committee under Article 19 of the Constitution of the party, which empowered the National Working Committee to sanction or discipline any of its members that was found erring in any respect to do with the party. When he was suspended, to allow for an unfettered investigation, according to the Constitution of the party, Article 12.3, there are 2 deputy national chairmen of the party. The deputy national chairman North and the deputy national chairman South. I was the deputy national chairman North when Shehu Gabon was the national chairman. When Shehu Gabon was suspended, according to Article 12.3 of the party, the moment the national chairman was suspended, expelled, or even if he decided to go to toilet while the meeting was going on, the deputy national chairman from the region where the national chairman comes from automatically stepped in acting capacity as the acting chairman of the party pending his return. If it is for suspension, he stepped in as the acting national chairman pending the lifting of the suspension. That is why he is not called a national chairman, he is called acting national chairman. So when Shehu Gabon was suspended by the party organ which is responsible for that actions, I stepped in as an acting national chairman, not appointed by anybody, but by the constitution of the party, which is the constitution registered with INEC. So we set up a committee under Air Vice Marshal Abubakar Sadiq Liman to investigate the abnormality. The committee sat for 2 weeks here at the National Secretariat Conference Hall. For 2 weeks, from morning 8 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. at night, including Saturdays and Sundays. Shehu Musa Gabon, Ogbona Ogochukwu, the youth leader, Chief Clarkson Nandu, the national auditor, were suspended and were asked to appear before the investigative disciplinary committee to clear their names against the allegations against them. The national auditor, Chief Clarkson Nandi, appeared before the committee, answered all the questions, apologizes for all his sit against the party. Then Sheikh Musa Gabon and the national leader refused to appear before the committee for 2 weeks. Then the committee concluded its assignment, submitted a report. Then another committee, a white paper committee, was set up by the NWC outside the NWC members, which reviewed the disciplinary committee report and come up with far-reaching recommendations that recommended the expulsion of Alhaji Shehu Musa Gama and Chief Clarkson and Chief Ogbonna Uchechukwu. Then Chief Clarkson Nandi wrote a resignation letter and an apology to the party. The party accepted his resignation. So these two were expelled by the party on the 23rd October 2025. Then later on, the party called its NEC, which is the highest implementing organ of the party. The NEC involved all the 15-member NWC, National Working Committee, all the 36 states chairmen and the FCT chairman, the 37 of them, all the 6 zonal vice chairmen and the 6 zonal secretaries of the 6 geopolitical zones, all the elected representatives of the party and key stakeholders of the party like the presidential candidate and other leaders of the party as key stakeholders. We have the NEC at Newton Park Hotel and Resort in Wusa Zone 4, Cape Town Street. INEC were there and fully monitored the NEC. The NEC came up with about 11 far-reaching resolutions that were moved through a motion seconded, then ratified and approved by the NEC. The NEC ratified and approved my appointment into the substantive chairmanship of the party and other members of the NWC. The NEC ratified and approved the expulsion of Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabon and Chief Ogbonna Uchechukwu from the party. From that day, they ceased to be members of the SDP. INEC are aware of this, is part of our constitution. When you are sanctioned by the SDP constitution, you have only 5 working days within which to appeal any disciplinary measure against you as a member of the party at any level of the party organ. If after 5 working days you did not appeal the disciplinary measure taken on you, it stands and nothing will come between. So this is the party. And by the way, the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land, in any matter of jurisdiction as far as Nigeria is concerned, have ruled severally. Internal parties of political parties are internal to themselves. Either their leadership, their disciplinary measure, their whatever is internal to them. They are the only body responsible for their internal affairs. Their internal affairs is exclusively preserved to them. Not even the Supreme Court in its all wisdom has barred itself from interfering into the internal affairs of party. And this party have taken a decision by the decision of the NWC, by being very fair by setting up the disciplinary committee, giving you an opportunity for peer hearing to come and defend yourself. You refuse to. The 5 working days for which you are to appeal the decision taken by the committee lapses without you. You never went to any court of competent jurisdiction to challenge your suspension and expulsion. No court of competent jurisdiction of our land, from the Federal High Court, Appeal Court or the Supreme Court, have set aside any of the disciplinary measure taken against you by the party. Then still people, because they want to create a faction that wasn't there, they want to create a crisis that wasn't there. It's just like when there are issues. So Nusu was the central bank governor, the president that appointed him, sanctioned him or relieve him of his appointment, or rather a president appoint a minister and he relieve him of his appointment, and you say he doesn't have the right to do, or the minister will now go and say, I am the president today. Where does it work if not Nigeria? I know where they are fooled. Our national convention, national executive committee took place in the presence of INEC. All the disciplinary measures taken were there, taken by INEC, and INEC fully monitored all our. This is our NEC report, certified and ratified by INEC itself. This NEC report is something that if you open the NEC report, the motion number 1 that was moved at the neck was I, Honorable Jonathan Gaza Befi, representing Kokona, Cape Federal Constituency, hereby move the motion that Dr. Sadiq Abubakar Gombe be ratified and approved of the national chairman of the party, which was seconded by Alhaji Adamu Idris, the the chairman, Kaduna State. Then it went on to say, Article 7 of this motion, I, Allen Ahmedin, State Chairman, Bayelsa State, do hereby move the motion that Dr. Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabon Ogbono Ojuchu be the suspension and expulsion of Alhaji Shehu Musa Gabon Ogbono Ojuchu be ratified and approved by NEC. I, Barrister Bukari Erima, do hereby second that. I, Idoko Otodo, Chairman Benue State, do hereby second the motion that Shehu Musa Gabon Ogbono Ojuchu be suspended and expulsion be ratified and approved by the NEC. The NEC approved it. Thereafter, the NEC itself, this is INEC recommendation. Conclusion of the NEC meeting. The conduct of the NEC meeting was in full compliance of the party constitution and INEC guidelines and the Electoral Act. This certified and ratified by INEC themselves. Then this, to us, have settled. These are the officers from INEC, Alhaji Masoud Hassan, who is a certifying officer that monitored this NEC. So as far as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended 2022, as part of the Electoral Act, as amended 2026, as part of the party constitution of the Social Democratic Party, the issue of Shehu Musa Gabon as Ogbono Ojuchu is a settled matter, is something that will never surface at whatever level, because he is not a member of SDP, has been expelled by the party and nothing. But unfortunately, because of the interest of some section of the media, the ruling party, and recklessness of our laws, then you find the same person being expelled and is facing prosecution, parading himself that I am a member. It's even against the destiny for him to be parading himself as a leader. And apart from that, we went to Supreme Court twice. In the first instance, the Supreme Court, via INEC from interfering into our internal affairs, asked INEC to receive all the correspondences by the NWC in respect of the suspension, expulsion, and any disciplinary measure against its member, and all the resolutions therein in respect of the party. So the INEC accept that. That was when INEC returned my name as the national chairman on its portal. Then thereafter, INEC were fined 2 million naira to pay SD fee for wasting our time and doubling into our internal affairs. Then yet again, on the 22nd May this year, Shehu Gabon continued to parade himself.
Yes,
we have to go back to the same Supreme Court.
Important.
The Supreme Court brought INEC from that and asked INEC that this person, the court ruling that they were saying want to bring back Shehu Gabon through the back door by Justice Wike, Wike's wife, was set aside, dismissed by the same Supreme Court. That was when, for the second time, INEC returned my name on the INEC portal as a substantial chairman. Yet, Shehu Gabon, in a country that a matter went to Supreme Court and twice the matter was settled by the Supreme Court, and in fact with a fine on the election management umpire. But yet, last 2 weeks, Shehu Gabon approaches a federal high court mischievously, criminally, without letting it know that this matter have been heard at this an appellate court, and it went to a Supreme Court, and Supreme Court ruled on this matter, and he went through the back door to tell the federal high court. Appeal court asked INEC to recognize me, and INEC refused to recognize me. When in actual sense, there was never anywhere that any court asked INEC to recognize him. It was a matter in respect of Ekiti governorship election that the Ekiti governorship aspirant took us to court. We went to federal high court, we went to appeal court, we went to Supreme Court, and we all won that it is our internal affair and it doesn't want local authority to even sue the party. Shehu Musa Gabon was never mentioned in any of these cases, right at the federal high court, the appeal court or the Supreme Court. But yet they said, okay, we are removing Sadiq, so we have to go back to status quo. What is status quo if Sadiq is not there? The constitution of the party is clear. Even if Sadiq is being removed, let's assume there is a deputy national chairman who will assume because Shehu is not a member of the party. But
Prof.
both INEC and so erred in that respect. But later on, when INEC reviewed all the submissions of our resolutions to it as regards our leadership and internal affairs, which is exclusively preserved to us, and the Supreme Court ruling in various aspects of our party, INEC now resolved in their meeting of 10 June 2026, in the meeting of the entire commission, then INEC approved and ratified through a decision extract my appointment, whatever, and they returned me on their portal and they've settled everything about leadership. Then, yet, this expelled member approaches a court that doesn't have any jurisdiction to entertain anything in respect of our leadership that have been already settled by the party highest implementing organ that have the right on its internal affairs, that have been settled by the appeal court, by the Supreme Court itself on 2 occasions, that INEC have taken a decision that he fraudulently went to the court and misled the court to ask the court to say, respect the ruling of the appeal court. The ruling that was held on the 24th of April, the ruling that was adhered to by INEC on the 27th of April, that was when they removed my name on the portal and put Sheh's Gabam. The ruling that after that, INEC gave us this certified true copy on 30th, after returning Shehu on 27th. They gave us certified true copy that Shehu will stand expelled. I stand the national chairman authentic by the NWC and by the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, even after giving us this certified true copy on 30th, when Shehu was 3 days on the portal, they refused to remove Shehu's name on the portal until 17th of June 2026, when they, after their decision extract of 10 June, it took them an additional 1 week before they do the needful by removing Sheh's name and put back my name on the portal.
Right.
So this thing is settled. One thing is that this is the registered office of the party with INEC, which is one of the criteria for registration. I am happy you are here at the national headquarters, the office of the chairman of the party, and I am here seated as the national chairman of the party. You are interviewing me here in the office. 1, this is a certified true copy of the NEC, which is the highest. We did our NEC, second NEC, on the 9th of this month, last week, here in this office. INEC were here, fully monitored the NEC. The NEC ratified all decisions we took at the last NEC and also at the last convention of 9th May 2026 that took place in Bauchi, where we elected our presidential candidate, who was the first political party in the history of Nigeria prior to 2027 that elected their presidential candidate for the 2027 general elections, and also did its convention to re-elect all the members of the National Working Committee and ratify and approve the expulsion of Shehu Musa Gabang and all others that were expelled or suspended from 2022 to 2026, 9 May 2026.
Professor Sadiq Abubakar Gombe, you are the national chairman of the SDP, as recognized by the courts, as recognized by electoral umpire. That's what we're going on with. But here we are with another Shehu Gabang running as the national chairman of the. I'm looking at the damage to the party, and of course how this will play out for your elections in 2027. Are you doing anything to, not only Shehu Gabang, but to bring back warring members?
Mr. TOYIN ALABI, the issue is because of the kind of country we are in, and that is why the SDP is presenting itself as the credible alternative to do away with all these shenanigans and so on in governance. It doesn't matter. Mr. TOYIN ALABI, today if you like, you will say I'm President Tinubu, and come to me, I'm President Tinubu, I will give you a appointment and do that. Any insensible Nigerian that want to follow you will say, yes, TOYIN ALABI is the president. It doesn't matter. So it's just like what is happening to Shehu Gabang. It's delusion. You are expelled from a party. You are facing prosecution for your criminal activities against the party. and unconstitutionality and so on, or breaches of the Constitution and the Electoral Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and that of the party. You are facing trial, you are on bail. The same person now going about, even after Supreme Court ruling, which country on earth is it even the President of the Republic that after Supreme Court has ruled on a matter, or you can go and continue to think you are parading yourself because of the lawlessness that is pervading in our land? That is why, and there's nothing Sadiq Gombe will do or SDP about it. We have taken it to the court, to the highest court of the land, which, by the way, said it doesn't have even jurisdiction on our internal affairs. We have taken our majors, have disciplined our errand members. It's just like in your house with your family. You married the wife, the mother. You gave birth to 11 or 15 children. You took them to school, did whatever, and you are taking care of the family and the mother. One of the boys, out of whatever, committed something against the rules of the family. Then you punish him. Then he went ahead to say, I didn't even accept the punishment. I am now the father. Because my mother is my wife, I am now the father, you are my son, or you are this. This is just what is happening because of the kind of country we are in.
Yes, Professor.
But if not, if we are in a decent society, people like that are supposed to be behind bars. You can't imagine what is happening today that I earlier said. Not just a ghost worker, even a parastatal, entire parastatal that passed through budgetary, scrutiny, that went through CBN allocation, were made to 3 of its organs through the CBN and so on. Then yet, people are still there, head and rolling, or rather people that were accused of these offenses of that magnitude are still there in government, even deciding the fate of 200 million Nigerians as leaders. If not Nigeria, where on earth can you have this thing happening? So what we are saying...
Let me do a follow-up on that before I let go of this question. And that's about political parties complaining that the ruling party has a hand in causing the problems or crises in the other parties. I'm looking at it that, the INEC as it is, and of course people talk about, molds being planted at other parties, all in a way to make sure that the ruling party maintains status quo for 2027. It's all part of what is happening, or what had happened with the with the SDP, with Shilgaban. Part of what the political parties are accusing the ruling party of, that is having its hands in creating crisis in the parties, so that the parties are weak or are weakened. Do you suspect that?
Well, you cannot say that is far-fetched from being the truth, but I just want to restrict myself to our party, the SDP. What I want to believe at times is not just about the ruling party having a hand in other political parties. It's glaring with the way things are going. It's glaring when even the Apex Court gave ruling in respect of internal affairs of political parties. Both INEC and other agencies of government could not adhere to that. It's just like the PDP have a ruling that they said this faction, the leaders of this faction stand a spell based on the neck of so the party have the responsibility to appoint its leaders, either interim or whatever, which happens and still is going on. That is why people will feel, yes, the ruling party have a hand also. It might be the truth, yes. It might not in some instances. In some instances, why do I say that? Because like in the SDP, what is happening in the SDP will remain resolute. That is why I tell you the SDP stand out today as the best party in this country. Not because I have seated here as the leader of the party. Why? Because when we have our issues in the SDP, we remain within the SDP. We fought it out through INEC, through the judiciary. We wrote up to 190 something letters that has to do with resolutions and many other things communicated to INEC that straighten INEC and make INEC to change some of his ways of relating with the political parties, because we engage INEC as much as we could. We did not abandon the party around our way. And that is why we have the highest respect for our presidential candidate. When he contested the 2023 general elections, Prince Adewale Adebayo, he lost the election. It went off to Supreme Court. He congratulated the winner and wished the country well and have been up and on in opposing the policies of the government, not just opposing the policies blindly, proposing solutions to the best way to handle them for the betterment of our country so that we can have good governance. And apart from that, he remained intact with the party, has never shivered or run away from the party for a second. And he remained committed to the yearning and aspiration and dictates of the party and continued to contribute and align with all positive things to do with the party. And here we are today, often today. No shaking. The same thing with us in the NWC. We are 15 members of the NWC. We sanctioned 3. The 12 members of the NWC, despite all enticement, despite all ways and means and manner trying to divide the rank and file of the NWC, we remain intact. We remain committed. We remain focused with our eyes on the ball that we want to present a credible alternative to Nigerians so that they can have at least a party that they can call one out of many that have the people at heart, that have the patriotism and commitment for the rescue of this country, and they saw us remain resolute, not shivered with all the enticement and all, the challenges. We faced our challenges head on. We went to INEC despite at times not having what we supposed to have. We went to the judiciary, to Supreme Court on several occasions, up to Supreme Court, and we were able to get justice at the Supreme Court. And here we are, that we remained resolute and we remain where we are. Unfortunately, in the other parties, what we have is just like the presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2019 general election. When he lost the election, he left the party. That went to a situation whereby the likes of Wike emerges as leaders of the party because of the Baikim left then after the 2019 general elections. Then in 2023, the party rewarded him with again the ticket of the party. When he has issues with the party, he moved on. Again, to ADC. Then after the ADC now, when they are in the ADC. But unfortunately, the likes of Peter Obi under Konkoso, they were in the same PDP prior to 2019. They were together. Peter Obi was the running mate to Atiku in 2019. They lost to the ruling APC. Konkoso was in the APC. They could not be able to make the PDP to secure the 25% in Kano. Then yet they divide their vote in 2023. Then now, after 2023 general election, they now come back to ADC together. Then subsequently, because they could not be able to achieve the fact that the convention was not there, if you navigate through to sanitize the ADC, even then, and do whatever, you can be able to rescue the ADC and present it as a platform so that all of you will come and contest. If it is not about personal ambition and greed, but it is about Nigeria, they will have remained there. But unfortunately, from there, they moved to NDC. Now from NDC, they are still thinking to where to go. These are the issues.
The SDP has suffered its own defections too. We have seen people jumping ship and moving out.
Listen, the problem is that we are different. It can be.
No.
Let me tell you, with due respect, yes. What I'm saying, leaders of the party, now, Adebayo was a presidential candidate, he remains so. The parties were allowed themselves to be divided into two. The NWC, some are here in the PDP. The same thing in the ADC with Nephew having some SWC members. Here we are in the SDP. There is no any defection from any member of the NWC. The presidential candidate remained there as the presidential candidate. We fought it together and we have been battling together. We only sanctioned 2 members that continue to parade themselves because we are in a lawless society to say we are this or that. Despite it is our internal affair, we do them. The issue we are talking about, yes, we have 2 senators in the SDP. Only one decamped at Wadada. And Wadada decamped without formal resignation from the party until Wadada emerges as the candidate of the APC in Nasarawa. He was the chairman, Senate Committee on Public Account. Go and dig it out, you are a journalist. Chairmanship of Public Account Committee of at whatever level the Senate, the House of Reps, or the State Assembly of whatever state is for the opposition. How comes you are an APC senator and you are still the chairman of Senate Committee on Public Account? It was when we raise it and we make it an issue that they quickly connive, went and brought about Shehu Gabam to create a function by using Shehu Gabam to say there is function in SDP, so that functionalization would give me room to decamp. There are many issues that we don't want to put it out there for the public fovea because we just want to focus on the ball. On the ball is how can we rescue Nigeria? The issue of political parties and others you to raise earlier on coming together, we are not talking about coalition partners. We knew when you have coalition partners, it's a coalition of partners with excess ambition, greed, and so on. That is why when they were there, we refused to be party to it. And subsequently, they were there, they were scattered. Today, Obi and Kwankwaso are there, Atiku is there, the others are there, and so on and so forth. The Sarakis and Co move out and so, because it's not genuine, it's not about the Nigerian people. What we are talking about in the SDP is a coalition of the Nigerian people. We are ready for a coalition, we are ready to engage all the Nigerian people to come together so that together we can build a formidable alternative toward the rescue mission of the 2027 general election. The way things are going, I want to assure you, Nigerians will be up for a surprise. I want to assure you, we are that credible alternative and that presenting ourselves to the Nigerian people for the rescue mission of this our dear country that God has endowed with everything, that we are supposed to be the leading black nation on earth, that we are supposed to be the leading country in Africa, because it's just like when Nelson Mandela said, Africa would not be liberated until and unless Nigeria take a rightful position in Africa as the leading nation in Africa. Before Africa will be liberated. Africa, the black wall will not be liberated until Nigeria take its rightful place in the Committee of Nations and take that leadership for the black race world over before Nigeria will be rescued. Just like what I told you earlier. 21st century is a century for knowledge, which is knowledge based, where capacity, competence, and knowledge lead the century, where leadership is about, it's not about religion, it's not about Muslim, it's not about Christian, it's not about North, South, it's about who has the requisite competence, capacity, experience, patriotism, and what it takes to bring the country together so that together we can rescue and salvage the situation of our dear country, rescue Africa, and rescue the black world over. That is the situation, and I want to assure you that we are set and ready for that. We'll soon start our campaign. Mind you, in the history of this country, this is about the first time a political party in less than 4 months had 2 national executive committee, had a successful convention, giving INEC the requisite 21 days notice for the 3. First neck of 9 March, second convention of 9 May, third neck of 7 July. If you take 21 days for the 3, that alone is about 2 months, 3 days. So in about 2 months, that is when we organize all this one successfully and following all our rules and procedures, INEC guidelines, the Electoral Act, and the Constitution of the land. And we are here going smoothly, despite all the challenges, despite all the infiltration by negative forces around. This is the same Sheikh Gabon that said there is nothing like politics of ideology. It's about personal interest, which is what we don't represent. He knows where he's supposed to belong, since it is this his understanding of politics. This is the same person that told us here in this office while we were having NWC meeting that, believe me, you want to sanction me. If you sanction me, I will be a more an Abure to you than what Abure was and is to the Labour Party. Believe me, sincerely, he who uttered that to all of us as members of the NWC, that he will be an Abure, he will do. But nonetheless, we are happy. We thank God that today we have successfully elected our presidential candidate, being the first party to elect a presidential candidate. We are given the INEC court for offload of our candidate, the presidential candidate, the National Assembly, Senate, 109 senators, and the 360 members of the Federal House of Representatives. We offload them successfully. Today, we are waiting to collect the INEC offload for the governors, 36 state governors, though it's going to take place in 28 states, and the 1,015 state assembly members across the country. I want to assure you, we have come a long way. We have passed the issue or era of anything Gabam. This is just a depiction of those that want to continue to project that for whatever selfish reason. They were agents, paid whatever to derail us, to draw us back and so on, but we are focused. We don't, if not that you brought the issue of Gabon or the name Gabon, if I will have an interview with you that will span 2 hours, I will conclude my interview without calling a Gabon. We have already forgotten that. It's just like we had an air fire as a member of this party. We sanctioned him.
Okay, Prof, before you take that out of my mouth, I was going to say that the program is Guest of the Week, and our guest this week is Professor Sadiq Abubakar Gombe, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, the SDP. Prof, Governor Sheyi Makinde of Oyo State called for, a meeting of opposition parties, so to say, and that meeting, he made mention that there should be a coalition, that opposite political parties should come together in order to create a formidable front to challenge the ruling party. And we do not, SDP represented or not represented at the party. But with the way things are going, with the ruling party, it's a formidable party as it is. It has the war chest. It has, the representation all over. And to take out, so to say, or to take out that party would mean, that the opposition coming up together. For you, doing away or taking out the ruling party as it is now, which is what the opposition parties are all out to do, how would you go about it with a party that has representation of 30 governors running for it, and it has the war chest and all of that? The SDP as a party, can it go alone in this?
Well, Chief TOYIN Alabi, what I want to draw your attention to and to fellow Nigerians is not about a party being in government or a party having 20, 30, 40 governors. Nigerians are wiser. This is the same party that ruled Nigeria for 8 years under a Buhari, with almost 26 or thereabout governors during a Buhari era. But what do we have? What have we had then in the 2023 general election? If not for the myopic and self-centeredness of the opposition party, then particularly the PDP, that history learned the PDP in 2019 gave the APC the battle of its life with a Konkoso, Obi, Atiku, and many key players in the same party. But unfortunately, they felt they could not learn from the experiences of the PDP itself when it lost the general election in 2015, where 5 governors left. The Konkosos, the Murtala Nyakos, the Babangida Alius, the Amechis, the Bukol, the left the party and now form a formidable front and challenged the PDP and brought the PDP to its knees by losing the election. They could not learn from that. Then when in 2019 you could not be able to defeat the APC, you now divide yourself. But yet, in 2023, despite that division, the APC under Tinubu, with a federal government under an APC under a Buhari, with majority of the state of 2/3 of the states, in control of 2/3 of the state, they could not be able to get more than 1/3 of the vote cast in Nigeria. They emerged as an opposition because President Tinubu got only 8.7 million votes then, with an Atiku having 6.9 million votes. Peter Obi got nearly 6.1 something or close to 6.2. Konkoso get nearly 2 million, with the other opposition smaller parties getting up to 1 million. So the total vote cast in the 2023 general election was about 25 million, with the ruling party getting only 8.7 of that vote, with almost twice that vote going to the opposition, but scattered among the opposition members. But to show you that Nigerians were tired of the APC. That is why the APC could not get more than 30-something, 33, 35% of the total vote cast in Nigeria, with the opposition getting almost 2/3. Unfortunately, scattered vote. So that's what we are saying. But today, what do we have? Nigerians realize all these people that were shouting coalition of opposition to come together, or rather the others that are saying we have 32 governors. It's not about the governors. In the 2023 general election was a defining moment in the history of Nigerian election. That was the time that Buhari lost Katsina to the PDP. And El-Rufai lost Kaduna. That was where Atiku got his highest number of votes, 540-something thousand votes, the highest in Nigeria of Atiku in 2023. That was how Bola Tinubu lost Lagos to Obi. That was how Lalong, as the DG campaign to APC presidential candidate, lost to Labour in Plateau. That was how the chairman of the PDP, Oyechu Ayu, with a sitting governor of PDP, Autumn, in Benue, lost to APC that won by only 3,000 and followed by a Labour. When PDP could not even make 25% in Benue with a sitting national chairman and a sitting governor of PDP. That was how Nasarawa State, Abdullah Adamu, the chairman of the APC, then lost the state to Labour. That was how FCT, both PDP and APC, lost the state to Obi. That was how Atiku won Oshun and Ekiti. So what I'm telling you is that the 2023 election was a defining moment in the history of Nigeria election, and to me is one of the key election that define all logics. All key players in the electoral process lost their states to one party or the other. That was how Tinubu won only 12 states. That was how Atiku won only 12 states. That was how Obi won only 12 states. Konkoso winning only one. But the most unfortunate thing, Tinubu got 25% spread in the number of states, which is 2/3 of the state. Atiku could not make of the 25% in 24 states, and so the same thing Obi could not make them. But Atiku, Obi, and Tinubu, all of them won 12 states, with Konkoso winning only one state of Kano and getting 25% only in Kano, one state. But had it been the opposition were together, or any two of the opposition were together, they would have won the election squarely, over and ahead of the APC and Tinubu. So the some Nigerian people are the one. Things are not as bad as they were and as they are today. I want to assure you the Nigerian people are ready to go with an alternative that they feel is credible enough, is genuine in its aspiration to lead this country out of this rescue in these shackles and mess we found ourselves with all these leadership gaps and infrastructure deficit and so on, corruption, insecurity and so on. You don't need to campaign against the APC, the ruling party. It has been decampaigning itself by the day, with the quantum of things that are coming out in terms of corruption, unprecedented level of corruption that we never seen in the history of the world, not even Nigeria. We are now about the most corrupt country, inept government, and so on the planet Earth. Nigerians and the level of insecurity go hand in hand with the level of food security, with the level of poverty, with the level, all indices of human capital development. If you take them under this government, they have eroded our essence as a people, as a nation, as a democracy. So I want to assure you, it is not about partners or about some leaders whom were given an opportunity before, mess up the opportunity. All these people that are saying we are this, come and vote us and so on. Where were they? Were the same champions from 1999 to 2023. Had they done what they were supposed to do when they were saddled with the responsibility of leadership, we wouldn't have been where we are today. We wouldn't have been crying about electoral process, good electoral process also. These are the same people that were there. David Mark, with due respect, was the longest serving Senate president in the history of Nigeria. He was there when the OAS report was presented to the Senate. Had they did what they were supposed to do, then we wouldn't have been where we are in this mess that we are having, this electoral issue that they are fighting for, and we are fighting along with them. The Atiku that were the vice president, the most successful and one of the most, privileged vice president and the most powerful in the history of the earth, not Nigeria or Africa. Had they did what they are supposed to do, the same people, they were in governance. They were either governors for 8 years in their respective state. They were ministers after having governors for 8 years. They were this or that. They were general. They were this. They were this. They are the one that envisioned all this country and messed up the entire patrimony for the good of all of us. Then they are now saying, we want to be there. What do you want to offer? That is why we are saying the SDP is the only ideological party and the only party that is different. But we still welcome them. It's just like the Hausa man is saying, ruwan kashe gobara ba a zabansa. That means if you want to quench a fire outbreak, you will not say I have to have pure water, clean water before I will do it. Any kind of water, tap, why you need it so that you can now, it will be after that, then you can now think of how can I navigate through leadership to make sure that people of utmost level of integrity, commitment, honesty, competence, capacity, patriotism, and so on, that will be saddled with the responsibility in leadership, not any Rick and Harry. So this is what we are talking. We are not averse to coming together of the opposition, but not coming together to deceive Nigerians because just we want to get to leadership. And if we see that we cannot be able to clean the ticket, the primaries didn't even take place before these people run away because they find the trajectory at place will not allow them to emerge as candidate of the party. So they move to another party that they feel I will be the candidate on the platter of gold without passing through any challenges. Then you are thinking of coming to face the greater challenge of the general elections? It can't work.
You are not talking about the former governor of Kaduna State here.
Where?
Malam El-Rufai.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he left government, it was the PDP that he found as a party.
Yes.
And then shortly after, he moved on.
That is what we are saying. He moved on back to the FEC, then to the ADC, in fact to SDP, then to the ADC. So this is what we are saying. If they will have come as a formidable force and remain in their respective party, just the way we did, and the Adebayos and the other, the Bugajes that we remain here in the SDP, and fought it out to salvage and rescue the party, then you are showing Nigerians that you have the capacity, you have what it takes, you have the resilience, you have the commitment and exposure and co on to face the challenges of rescuing the country. You cannot even rescue your political party. You have to run to where you have less challenges to face, to be able to get a ticket. Then you think you have something to offer. When you cannot even rescue your own political party, you cannot wait in your political party and dialogue in between and constructively find a way to resolve your issues internal within your party. When we have two political parties, one out of 22 you cannot be able to navigate through to solve the problem of that party. Then you want to say, I have what it takes to solve the problem of Nigeria. How can you tell any sensible Nigerian that you have what it takes? But while we are saying that we are beating our chest, yes, the SDP have a lot of challenges. The coalition people initially want to use the SDP and the coalition platform. We refuse to allow them to do that because of the way they came in and what they felt is just about leadership. It's just about graft. It's just about taking over entirely and so on and so forth. You say, no, it can't be. You met us with our party. Come and be members. Join at your respective wards. Come on board. You have all it takes to aspire to be anything. There is no limitation. You will be the national chairman, you will be the presidential candidate. There is no problem. We have no any limitations to whatever you want to aspire to be in the party. But come and maintain, be your party. Then you went to a party which constitution says before you become anything, you have to stay there for 2 years or so and so. And within 2 months or 1 month, you say, no, I'm taking over the party. That is why you haven't challenged each other. You went to a party where the NWC is divided. Here we are, the NWC is intact. Only the 2 members were sanctioned. And it's natural. If we want to present ourselves as a formidable platform that we want to rescue Nigeria, we have to start that we must cleanse the party that we are in to make sure we can be able to present credible candidates. We can be able to face the challenges of Nigeria. When we are able to face the challenges of a political party, which is 1 out of 22, then we can be able to say we are ripe enough, we are ready for the challenges of Nigeria. That is where we are and that is what we stand for.
Professor, just before we go, one last question. The country has always been about blocks. The northern bloc, the southwest, as it is. For one block that we're talking about, you're the national chairman of the SDP, and so a leader of the north. For what has happened or what is happening to the north that we once knew was a formidable north, that by elections are about numbers and all of that, and the swing states, the north has always taken the swing of the pendulum to present presidential candidates. Today the north suffers from insecurity, out of school going children, and all that is destabilizing the north, so to say now. Put your thoughts for us on the North and what it is going through today.
The issue is that we cannot talk about the North in isolation of the Nigerian Federation. The issue, what we realize is not about Northern leadership that will solve the problem of the North that people thought about, but it's about the conviction of the Northern elites to have a elite consensus that where do we want the North to be in the next 10, 20 years or so? Do you want the North to remain where it is so that it engulf and consume all of us and our children not unborn? Because the trajectory, the way we are going, is where we are headed for. So it's about the elite consensus in the North that we want to be elsewhere rather than where we are today or where we are headed for. Two, we have to negotiate power, not just to say we need a Northern president. Because the Northern presidency, we saw it in a Buhari that could not be able to rescue Daura, to college of rescue Katsina. When he left power, it is down the drain. Daura is not better off. Katsina is not better off. The Northwest, where he comes from, that he secured over close to 40% or more of the vote that he got to emerge as president, almost close to 50% of the total vote that got him to the presidency, was not better off when he left power. They are almost worse off in terms of all indices of human capital development. Is it insecurity? Is it out of school children? Is it poverty? Is it want? Is it this? Is it that? Is it food security? Is it lots of infrastructural deficit, roads, rail, and so on and so forth? So this is what we are talking about. Today we have a Tinubu. Yes. The Southwest will say yes. In terms of infrastructure, in terms of appointment, he said everything is about the Southwest. Every appointment has to go to the final. Every GC contract, everything. Yet, that is it. But are the Southwesterners as individuals or as communities better off than the Northern communities? Just recently, the Oyo saga, because the headline of the whole world, not just Africa or Nigeria. Was it different? Is Oyo different in terms of insecurity than Sokoto? No. Is Oyo different in terms of any infrastructure? No. Are the masses, majority of the masses of the communities, better off than the elite that we are given minister of these 3 ministers in a state? Do they make the difference to the state? Do they ensure in dividend of democracy or good governance to the people of that state that makes them difference from other Nigerians? Are they buying fuel at 200 naira because Tinubu came from that, and Tinubu is a distinct or Shatima, they are buying it in Meduguri 500, then other Nigerians are buying it 1,100 or so? Are they buying bag of rice? Is their minimum wage, the 70,000 they are receiving, and them anything better of than the minimum that the 70,000 that another will collect? In fact, another 70,000 is even better than the Lagosian 70,000, because the foodstuff, the prices of foodstuff here is less. So if 70,000 of another will buy more in terms of food and other things than compared to what a Lagosian will buy, half of that or less. So it's not about it must be our own. Emily Kun is not about it. It's about having the leader that have what it takes, the tribalized leader who understand the country, who have what to offer in terms of, it's not about his religion, it's not about his region, it's not about his tribe, it's not about whatever, it's the sentiments or personal emotions. It's about what does he possesses in terms of confidence, in terms of capacity, in terms of understanding of the problem, in terms of having what is take to bring the Nigerian people together and elite, and looking at Nigeria as his entire constituency rather than where I'm coming from or the religion I profess and so on. So this is what we are talking about. So the North now is up to the North to think through that. That is why we are not talking about we want another now to be president, that we are still going for somebody from the South. In fact, a Christian, a very younger person with the acumen, with the capacity, with the commitment, with the confidence, with the patriotism, with the tribalized faster nature, so that Nigerians will see that we are not about all these personal sentiment and emotions that define our politics in the last 2 decades that didn't take us anywhere. So this is what we are talking about. We need a consensus in the North, then along the elites of the North, along their counterpart in the southern part of the country, to come together and have an elite consensus of the Nigerian elites to say this is where we want this country to go in the next so time, so that we can be able to lead Nigeria, to lead Africa, and to lead the black gold. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And that will just be about the size of it on the program Guest of the Week today. Our guest this week has been Professor Sadiq Abubakar Gombe, National Chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. Thank you for staying with us.
We are the station that all the stations listen to. Invicta 98.9 FM.